everybody. My name is David Lynch. I'm the city manager for the city of Newton Falls, Ohio. This is our regular morning briefing for the city of Newton Falls as it relates to the coronavirus crisis that all of us are dealing with right now. And as I say at the beginning of every broadcast, I want everyone to know that the official source of information when it comes to the health and well-being of our citizens in Newton Falls is the State of Ohio Director of the Department of Health, Amy Acton, and she appears at the governor's press conference every single day around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you encounter conflicting information, use that as your reliable source. What we're trying to do with our morning briefing is have information that is specific to Newton Falls, our own locale, because people are giving us questions all the time about how they should proceed with different issues that come up on a local basis, and we want this morning briefing to serve that particular need. And this morning, here it is Saturday, April 11th, and it's Holy Saturday, the day before Easter, and a number of the questions we've had on a local basis have to do with the Newton Falls public school system, and therefore on the line live right now is the superintendent of the Newton Falls Public Schools, Paul Woodard. Paul, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Mr. Lynch. How are you?
Fantastic. We are getting our way through this step by step. And Paul, first of all, I really wanted to ask you, how are you maintaining the education of the students while kids are basically at home?
Well, first of all, let me just wish everyone a happy Easter. Say that I hope they have a great weekend with their family, and I hope God's first in their life. Secondly, when it comes to maintaining the education at home, our staff and administration have had to adapt to the new situation here with the pandemic, and they're doing the best that they can to do online lessons for our students. And when we have students that don't have internet at home, what we've tried to do is we've passed out Chromebooks with information on ways to get free internet. And there's still some people that don't have that, and they have to come in and try to pick up hard copies of the lessons. So what we're doing is every Tuesday from 3 to 6 now, we pass out lessons, and we have students bring their lessons in and turn them in. And we coordinate this at the same time that we're doing a food pickup for our students and their families.
All right, so basically, on Tuesday afternoons, you can pick up your homework and pick up some food. That's a pretty good combination. The kids may be looking for sandwiches every time they turn in their homework once school goes back together again, Paul.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been incredible, the effort I've had just with the different staff members and volunteers and the putting together of food. What we've tried to do is not pass out just a little something for breakfast and lunch, but we've tried to put boxes and bags of food that will help a family get through the entire week with different portions of food, loaves of bread, peanut butter, a gallon of milk, spaghetti dinners, things like that, just so that they can hopefully try to get from one week to the next or pretty close to it. And my food supervisor, Diane McElravy, and there's a family called the Holly family. They've been doing a tremendous job with a lot of my staff members. It's a lot of effort involved in doing this, and it's just impressive what they've been able to do.
Yeah, Paul, speaking of the Holly family, they run an organization called Forward Ministries, and they've been an essential part of the success of the food program, haven't they?
They have. It's something that they're good at doing. They're good at going out and reaching out to different companies and people, getting volunteers, but also getting incredible donations when it comes to food and things like that. And they've been working with our school even last year up at the elementary school. A couple nights a week they help kids with their homework, give them a snack, some kind of fun activity, a craft, things like that. Staff members have been involved with them. They've been a great blessing that the Lord's brought them into our community. Yeah,
they've been great. Paul, I'm going to move a little bit on to the area of what to expect. And by the way, your contact information is on the screen right now, 330-872-5445, but probably best woodardp@nfschools.org. Paul, what I want to ask you about is what are you hearing and we're not going to hold you to anything, but we're looking for a little bit of insight as to when the schools might convene for in-person education again. What's the drumbeat that you're hearing?
Well, I don't have any inside information. I'm like a lot of people. I listen to the governor pretty much every day, and listen to the president every day just to see what's going on with this pandemic, since it's kind of unprecedented in our lifetime. And what I've been hearing from the governor is that they're going to wait till they get closer to the May 1st deadline before they make a decision on school for the remainder of the year. But he's also had a statement in there a few times that I've heard say that there is a chance that we may not go back to school this spring at all.
Yeah, and I also heard the governor talk about the fact that there's nothing wrong with planning certain things, such as eventual graduations and that sort of thing, but he really does want us not to get too far ahead of ourselves, and it sounds like you've adopted that philosophy as well.
Yes, it's been a big change for all of us, but I think the Newton Falls community, the Newton Falls educational staff has done a great job in working hand in hand together. And I can tell you, I've been here 9 years. I'm very impressed with what I see and just the big hearts of the people that we have here in Newton Falls.
Yes, Paul, our superintendent here. Paul, it would be a pretty memorable senior year if you're a senior in high school this year, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be. And I feel bad because, some of the sports got stopped right at the end when they were getting ready to go play the state championships. And
sure.
I've got family members that are seniors this year, and they're worried about being able to have graduation. And, there's basketball teams and wrestlers and stuff like that were down to the final 8 teams or down to the finals in Columbus, and they didn't get a chance to complete that. And I was a former coach and a former player, so my heart goes out to those kids. They'll never have that chance.
Sure. Well, Paul, you've really been a guiding light for the whole school system through your entire superintendency, and now through the COVID-19, you've shown even extra leadership, and on behalf of our community, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, and if I can just take a moment to tell the community of Newton Falls, the election is also a different situation this year, and we do have 2 renewal tax levies that are up. They're not new taxes, they're renewals. And I can't stress enough how important these renewals are for the existence of our schools. We depend on these. They're built into our general budget. One's been in place since 91. The other's been in place since 2015. And people can't go and vote face-to-face this year. They have to either get on our website or the Trumbull County Board of Elections website, and they have to request an absentee ballot, get that, and send it in. And they need to do that by April 25th because the 28th is the actual election. And without these 2 renewal levies, the Newton Falls School District will not stay in existence. We will fall apart. We have to have these.
Yeah, and reminding everybody, those are renewals, so we're merely asking to continue the existing funding. No one's asking for additional money. And contact the Board of Elections or go to the Newton Falls school's website, which is on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Paul, thanks again, and to the entire school system and to your family. Be at peace, have a happy Easter, and good health to everybody.
Thank you. I want to wish everybody a happy Easter. God bless you, and put your faith in the Lord, and we'll get through this together. Thank you.
We sure will. Thanks, Paul. That was
Bye.
Paul Woodard, the superintendent of our school system. And at this time, we're going to change gears a little bit because we are going to bring into the program for just a minute, talk a little bit about some of the things we're encountering here in Newton Falls from the perspective of our police department, because we are doing things a little bit differently. Yeah, hi. Hi, Chief. Is this Chief Gene Fixler?
This is.
All right. Chief, you've got something going on in the background. If you can knock that off or kill it, we'd appreciate it.
I did.
Okay, great. Chief, it's great to have you live on the air. This is our police chief, Gene Fixler. Chief, the COVID-19 has presented some pretty unusual challenges, I'm sure, for the police department. What are they, and how are you dealing with them?
Well, our job is to protect the community, and believe me, we are there. We're there every day. We have our full contingency of manpower, but we do things a little different. If you call in, we may just call you back. If it's about some advice, if it's about taking a report, we're going to take a report over the phone when we can. If it's something that involves something that could lead to eventual prosecution, where we have to collect evidence, take photographs, anything such as that, we're still going to come to your house. If there's a disturbance, we're still going to show up. Well, everybody else, this is, like going into a fire. At fire scenes, everybody's running out. The policemen and firemen are running in, and that's what we do. So we're still going to be responsive to everybody, but we may just do it a little bit different. But again, if it's something that's going to involve any type of prosecution, we are not going to cut corners by not collecting evidence, by not taking photographs. We're there for the community, and we've been a strong police department on behalf of the community, and we intend to continue that even through this emergency.
Sure. Chief, one of the things that's come up in discussion during these morning briefings on and off has been information related to how you are handling traffic enforcement. And I know you're moving forward with traffic enforcement, but it's my understanding that you're doing things with just a little bit of fine-tuning. Can you describe that a little bit?
Well, the fine-tuning is going to be is when we approach the car, we're still stopping cars as we did. I mean, traffic safety is important. The traffic is not as heavy as it used to be, but it's there. And if somebody commits a violation, we're going to enforce it. But when we approach the car, we may ask you to hold your own driver's license, so there's no actual transfer of any kind of virus that could be a part of that document. And we may take a quick picture of the driver's license and use that. But I want to assure the community we're not going to step back and let speeders and stop sign violators, whatever the case might be. We're going to continue our traffic enforcement. This is about the safety of the community. There's still pedestrians. Actually, there's more pedestrians out than was before because people like taking a little walk around the block. And we're going to make sure that the streets stay safe. But it will be a little different approach. But by no means are we going to stop enforcing traffic laws.
Chief, we've got the phone number on the screen right now, 330-872-5757. And Chief, I guess I would ask, how are you making sure the officers are protected? Do you have the personal protective equipment that's needed? And how are your officers making sure that they're driving around town in such a way that they're insulated from the obvious increased vulnerability and exposure that the rest of us just aren't exposed to?
Well, I have to tell you, we come in contact with so many different people in any given day, so we do take many extra precautions. But we made an emergency purchase of the masks when all this came to be, and since then we're teamed up with the county EMA, the Emergency Management Agency, and we have daily briefings from them. We have a weekly teleconference. We get all the information that we should have as far as protecting ourselves and our officers, including, we carry disinfectant with us. We disinfect our cars. Just last Saturday, a company I arranged to come in, and they did it absolutely no charge to us. And disinfected all of our cars and put treatment in every car, and we're also following that up with the city trucks also. But our own people will wear their N95 masks going into houses upon direct contact with anybody, and we're at risk. There's no two ways about it. We can wear the mask, we can wear gloves, but our clothes could get infected. we go home to families every day, and so we have to be a little extra careful. But we are on the front lines, and we will take all the precautions that we have to have.
Well, Chief, I've spoken to a number of our citizens, and I know I speak for all of them, all the members of the City Council and the Mayor, how much we appreciate you, and we appreciate these rank and file men in blue that are out there every day. When the governor talks about the people that are on the front lines, a big component of the people on the front lines are the police officers who are responding to calls in difficult times. You know, Chief, there's a lot of cabin fever out there, and I've always, as a former prosecutor, I know that one of the most difficult calls is responding to a domestic violence. But your men aren't backing down. They've answered the call. There's no blue flu taking place. It's your officers donning the uniform, and in this case the PPEs, to go out there and do their job. And it takes some courage and bravery, and we thank you and recognize all of your men for that.
That's true. And I have to tell you, as people are more homebound than they were before, it gets a little monotonous, with families, and everybody's kind of in each other's way sometimes in houses. And we have had some disturbance calls. Matter of fact, I responded on two myself yesterday, and it's once again, it's what we do, and we'll go in, and if there is any type of violence, we will prosecute. And as much as we hate to put somebody in jail, if we have to, we will. I mean, domestic violence is a very serious thing. I will urge people, if you're feeling down, dial 911. It'll get you through to the County Mental Health Board. I'm sorry, dial 211. Dial 211 if for the County Mental Health Board, 911 if you have an actual emergency. But the County Mental Health Board, they'll talk to you on the phone. They'll set you up with some counseling. People are feeling down. They're feeling that they're just locked into something. This is something that none of us have ever been through in our lifetimes. And so I do urge people to connect up with the County Mental Health Board, dialing 211, and of course 911 if you have an actual emergency.
Well, I'll say this much, Chief. We all have to deal with a certain degree of fear, trepidation, and concern, but knowing that the Newton Falls Police are out there gives all of us in our community a high level of confidence. Chief, you guys have been great, and we love the Newton Falls Police, and thanks for all that you do.
Well, thanks for what you do, Dave. I got to tell you, you've been a great shining light for our entire community, and I know my guys appreciate you, and I'll even speak for the fire department. All the safety forces really appreciate everything you do, because you have stepped forward and make sure that Newton Falls has really become a good, safe community.
Yeah, and as long as we're talking about that, Chief, you were instrumental in getting Newton Falls signed up for, one of the few communities in the state of Ohio, signed up for the Code Red system. And Tom, you might want to find that graphic. It's onsolve.com/register. And Chief, you played a pivotal role in getting our citizens signed up to receive these emergency alerts. Could you describe that briefly for the citizens, Chief?
Sure. When you sign up for it, and it's absolutely no cost. If there's a thing, I think it costs $1 or something like that if you decide you want notifications for about anywhere where you may be traveling, if there might be, if a community, let's say in
Arizona, Denver.
Wherever it might be.
Yeah, Wuhan, China.
Yeah, well, most of us don't travel much right now.
Right.
But during better times, which are to come very soon, forgetting about the dollar sign up, absolutely free to the residents of Newton Falls. You sign up and you can take the choice of one or all three, which is going to be a text on your cell phone, an email, and a phone call. from Unsolve. And this is when there's threatening weather, which is deemed by the National Weather Service. They actually regulate how these go out. We also have the ability to send out special messages to the residents who are signed up for this, which will come over your phone in the same 3 ways. And when I say those special messages, that would either be you, Dave, or myself. If it's some type of broadcast that we have to get out to the residents. And I want to make it very clear, you won't hear from us every day or 2 times a day for things that aren't an absolute emergency, because if that comes across from Onsol across your phone, you're going to know it's some serious stuff.
Yeah, and so it doesn't cost anything to register, Chief. And on that note, I wanted to also remind everybody that during this time of the coronavirus, if some local event happens or some local urgent announcement has to get out to you in your homes, Chief, you and I can send that message out, and it goes just to Newton Falls people, and it kind of makes it a unique emergency system, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and you have to be signed up for it. So as you just saw on the screen, sign up for it. It's absolutely free. And, this supplements our tornado sirens also. I mean, tornado sirens are a great thing, but as we all know, you can't hear the tornado sirens in your house when your windows are closed, your air conditioning's on in the summertime. This tells you, hey, there's something coming. It gives you the opportunity to call your neighbors. If you're away somewhere, you're still going to get this, and gives you the opportunity to call a friend, a relative, a neighbor, and say, hey, my Onsol, my code red just went off, and make sure you take shelter. So it's a great communications device, and I'm sure glad we have it here in Newton Falls.
Chief, that's great. Well, again, thanks to all of the men in blue. Make sure you extend to them our deepest appreciation, Chief, and to you and your family, good health and a blessed Passover and blessed Easter season. Thanks, Chief Gene Fixler.
Okay, and the same to all of our residents. It's just it's a season that we all look to God, and let's just give that extra prayer to get beyond this. That we really need to get beyond this pandemic. Okay, and I thank you, Dave.
Nice going. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our police chief, Gene Fixler. And Fixler has been a fixture in Newton Falls. He's been a rock through all the different challenges we've had over the years, and we're blessed to have him at the helm of the good ship Newton Falls Police Department. Well, that brings to a close another edition of our morning briefing, Newton Falls, April 11th, the coronavirus update. We've given you some information, but again, rely on the State Department of Health for all the specific health requirements that we have. Folks, we're beginning to see a slight diminution in the way the cases are going here in Ohio. We've been so blessed. Up to this point, we have 0 coronavirus cases actually in Newton Falls itself. So God's grace has protected us, and I'm sure He will if we stay in prayer. So happy Passover, happy Easter, and as I conclude each one of these broadcasts, I want to say, God bless America, and God bless the city of Newton Falls.